Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Urban Update. I'm Byron Barnett. On the show today, we'll take a look at the current real estate market and how gentrification in parts of Boston is affecting the region. We'll also discuss how this impacts the housing needs of families with very low income. Also on the program, common tips for using exercise, massage, and several do-it-yourself ways to alleviate some common pain ailments. But up first, the Massachusetts Highway Safety Division of the Executive Office of Public Safety and Security unveiled earlier this year an education campaign aimed at convincing men ages 18 to 34, the population with the lowest seatbelt use rate, to buckle up. The campaign is part of the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration's Click It or Ticket effort to save lives by increasing seatbelt use. Part of the problem with men in that particular age group is that, despite all the evidence, they feel invincible and many do not wear seatbelts. To tell us about this ongoing campaign, we've invited Jeff Larason, Director of the Highway Safety Division. Welcome to Urban Update. Thanks for coming in, Jeff.
Thank you for having me.
And I assume you wore your seatbelt over here if you did drive?
Always.
Well, just get right into it here. So too many men still don't use seatbelts. Why is that?
Well, you said it. There's this feeling of invincibility that they have. They're young and they're not going to crash. They're not going to die, and they just feel like it's not something that is going to affect them one way or the other. So they don't.
Yeah, 18 to 34 group you were talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so Massachusetts, in general, we have almost the lowest seatbelt use rate in the country. We are number 48.
48?
48 in the country.
Wow. Who's below us?
New Hampshire, where they have no seatbelt law at all, and South Dakota for some reason.
Wow. Is there a percentage that how many people use
74.4%. It looks like the new numbers will be coming out. We'll have a bump. We'll go up with that a little bit.
Now, how does the type of car men drive affect this? Are certain cars more?
Well, for some reason, drivers of pickup trucks tend to not wear their seatbelt use, and I'm not sure why that is, quite frankly, but it's a very low percentage. And commercial truck drivers also tend not to wear their seatbelts use. So if you're driving, if you're out there doing plumbing and heating, or you're out in the pickup truck, you're working, you tend to get in and out of the vehicle quite a bit. So people tend not to wear the seatbelt as much as they need to.
Now you've launched this campaign. We've got a little PSA. We'll take a quick look at it and talk about it on the other side. Roll the video.
A smart guy or just a wise guy, your head weighs 10 pounds. So when you crash, your head will hit the windshield like a 10-pound sledgehammer. And no matter how hard your head is, you can't stop a crash with your face. Use your head. Buckle up.
So what are you trying to get across in that video?
Well, we're just trying to let people know that, you know what, crashes are going to happen. It's not an inevitability, but this is something that the best way to stay safe if a crash occurs is to wear your seatbelt. It's just that 2-inch piece of fabric. There's nothing in your car that will make you safer than wearing that.
What about the seatbelt law? How does that work, and what is it for those who might not know?
Well, it's you're required to wear your seatbelt in Massachusetts. We have a secondary law, so it's a little more difficult to enforce than it is in some states. So, but it is a law.
But it's enforced. Can they stop you for that, or
no? It's a secondary law, so they can't stop you exclusively for your seatbelt. But if you're doing anything else wrong, if you are speeding, you can always get a seatbelt ticket for you.
Talk about the campaign. Do you think you've had any impact at all?
I think so. The initial numbers have come in from the campaign that happened. We had a real big push back in May, and it looks like the target was young men, as well as Hispanics and pickup truck drivers, and the initial numbers are coming in are showing a bump in each of those categories.
Now, you mentioned Hispanics. Are there, I believe you said there are racial disparities, not only car driving disparities, but there are racial disparities.
Yeah, the Hispanic population traditionally has had a lower seatbelt use rate. It's around 50% compared to the 74% that the general populace has, and blacks have a slightly lower percentage of seatbelt use as well. Now,
you're kicking off today the National Child Passenger Safety Week with a series of free car seat checkups across the state. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so, well, this is another situation where we have the number 2 reason for infants dying in this country are from crashes. And one of the reasons is that the seats that are required are not installed properly. And when they are installed, a lot of times they're not buckled in properly in those seats.
You're talking about child seats.
The child seats, and then the booster seats. And, you know, it's a complex process. We're recommending now that kids, infants, stay facing backwards up until the age of 2 now, which is a long time. And then we want kids to stay in the back seat until the age of 13. That's the recommendation at this point.
Okay, now what can family members do to help a little family pressure on some of these kids and
well, you know,
some of these men?
grandparents, aunts, and uncles can just they can do a lot to help make sure that parents know what the requirements are. We have over 220 different locations where people can go to get their seat inspected to make sure that it's installed properly, so that if there's a crash, that it's not going to move around very much. And we also have some circumstance where we can give seats away for people who need them.
And this is really a really important safety issue that so many people ignore, but you can't really say enough about the importance of seatbelts, can you?
It's the simplest thing you can do. And it's been around for generations. Just pull that seatbelt across, and the technology that's there for kids is now, it's improving significantly, but it's very important that we make sure that those seats are installed properly.
And finally, quickly, one more thing about the child seats. Where can people get more information about getting the right car seat for their child?
So we have just launched a new website, a new portal for information. It's mass.gov/car seats, and that's in Spanish as well.
Okay, Jeff Larason, we'll leave it right there. A great campaign. I hope we get those numbers up. 48th. Wow, that's
We're working on it.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. Coming up next, DNA Realty gives us their take on the current Boston real estate market right here on Urban Update.